Are you hoping that, are you thinking that, selling your home is all about just slapping a for sale sign in the yard and throwing up some pretty photos online? And then bam, all the offers come in, right? Well, let me tell you, there's a little landmine in the process that can blow up your deal faster than you can say under contract. And it's called the home inspection. And that's why I do a pre-home inspection on my listings, chapter 2 of my book. Now, one of the biggest deal killers I see time and time again, it's not price, though price is important, it's not even the buyer's financing. It's the dreaded home inspection shark. Right in my book, and it can eat you away. And here's the truth. If you're not prepared for the shark, what's coming, that inspection report can blow your deal and just basically slash tens of thousands of dollars off your sale. And what could be a smooth closing ends up being into a nightmare. I've seen it happen. And that's why I do pre-home inspections on all my listings. Now, by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what inspection issues show up the most, how you can spot them before the buyer does, and how to protect your equity like a pro. So why are inspections bad? Why are they deal breakers? What's happening here? Well, buyers love inspections. Why wouldn't they? You know, it's basically their get out of jail free card in a sense, because if they make an offer, get you under contract, and they hire this inspector to go through your house with like this magnifying glass, and if they get cold feet, or if they want to renegotiate, you know, have their Uncle Bob comes in as their handyman and scares them with a flashlight in the basement, you know, boom, the sale's over. And that's why having these pre-home inspections are so key, because you get out of all that. And the buyers might do another inspection, but who cares? At least it gets all the things on the table ahead of time. And you can fix them on your dime, not the dime the buyer wants to spend on the issue. Now, I found this stat, it's a good statistics at porch.com, found that 88% of buyers hire a professional inspector. On my sales, because I do a pre-home inspection, only half do. But nearly half of all contracts that fall through, they fall through because of the inspection issues. Not the price, not the financing. It's the inspection, the #1 deal killer. So this is not just a checklist. It's a checklist you do before going through the inspection that you get on the house, understanding which things you should and shouldn't fix. That's the strategy. You know, anybody can do a home inspection on your house, but what do you actually do once the inspection report comes back? That's the shark. That list you give the buyer after it's done, what do you say you're gonna fix or fix before? What do you don't fix? And say, listen, I didn't fix this, and this is part of my seller's disclosure. You basically use your inspection report to be like part of your seller's disclosure to avoid this problem. Please, you really need to understand this, and don't listen to someone who says not to do a pre-home inspection. That's what I do for all the agents that I vet. I make sure that we do a pre-home inspection. When I refer you to an agent, because a lot of you are asking me to refer you an agent in your area, I will make sure they do this right and your deal does not fall through. So what are the usual suspects, the 10 inspection issues that wreck deals? What are the top 10? I've been doing this for a long time. I've gone through thousands of home inspections before the homes go on the market, and then they do another inspection after. I can tell you, the same things keep coming up over and over and over again. So let's get through these one by one. The roof is #1. I'm not saying it's #1, but I'm gonna say this is the first thing I'm gonna talk about. So if it's missing shingles, curling edges, or shows the slightest sign of a leak, buyers immediately picture a large dollar amount. They don't think of a minor repair, they think of a tear off the roof and replace it. Recently, one of my buyers went through a house and there was a daylight in the roof and they saw this little mold growing. Well, it wasn't that bad. I mean, only the mold you could get fixed really easily and the roof wasn't falling apart, but in their mind it was. I had to show them that it was okay, but that's why you nip that one in the butt before the buyers walk through the door. They're gonna think these little things are, oh my God, the house is horrible, the roof's gonna need replacing, and they start freaking out. I was talking to one of the agents that I work with, and they had a buyer who demanded $15,000 off because of one little water stain in the ceiling. The actual repair was only $350. They didn't have a pre-home inspection. She couldn't get her seller to pay $500 for inspection. It's the psychology of it all. Water, my God, means damage, and damage means a lot of money, and it means I want a discount. It's like an extra sting in the deal. In some cases, if the roof is near the end of the lifespan, the buyer's lender might require it to be replaced before closing. Not so much. So it's just not about negotiating, it's about keeping the deal alive. Now, when I see a roof that the inspector in my pre-home inspection says at the end of its life expectancy, we go out and get a roof estimate, and it's not leaking yet. So we tell the buyer, listen, we know the roof's older. We're going to either price the home with a brand new roof or say, no, we understand this. We've priced the home with a roof that needs a repair in 4 years or in 3 years. Or we'll give a credit for that roof, a smaller credit, not a full credit. So you have to watch what you do there. So if you do have a roof that's older and it's say over 15 years old, get that roofer in, especially if it comes up in the home inspection report. Have them tune it up and take some photos and give you a report they can hand to the buyer. That turns panic into peace of mind. And besides, and always have that replacement credit nearby. Always have it nearby. Next, I want to talk about water. Oh my gosh. Water intrusion or foundation cracks, those two. If you have a damp basement, musty smell or cracks in the wall, forget it. It's a deal killer before it even starts. Your home will not sell. You have to do something about it. Because buyer will start picturing themselves bailing water out of their basement at 2 a.m. in a rainstorm. But the truth is about 70% of homes will deal with some kind of moisture issue during their lifetime. But buyers don't hear normal, they hear Money Pit, the movie with Tom Hanks, great movie. And they don't underestimate the power of the written word. If an inspector describes a harmless hairline crack as a possible structural compromise, that's enough to send buyers running for the hills. That's why in our inspections reports, if we have a problem with the basement, it smells moldy or found mold, we catch that ahead of time. The word mold is terrible. We're going to get into that. It's just anything negative, damp basement, water issues in the basement have to be addressed. And that means if you have to spend $7,000 or $8,000 on getting a water system or a whole basement or something like that, a whole waterproof system, then you have to do it. No one's going to buy your house with a basement that's damp and smelly. That's not going to happen unless you price it really low. So what do? Here's a tip for you. Have the inspector come out and evaluate, of course, your basement. Or then once the inspector does evaluate and says these things, evaluate any cracks or damp spots before you list. Like I was saying, sometimes a French drain might be doing, or waterproofing, or sealing can help you from losing tens of thousands of dollars in negotiating. Maybe the outside, they just need to do some grading to stop water from coming in. There's so many things that could be stopping the water that you might not have to spend the money on getting a full waterproof system. So get these things handled. So one thing I can smell when I walk through a house is mold and dampness. The seller goes, I don't smell anything. I'm like, yeah, it smells like dampness. I have the nose. If you have the nose for smell, let me know, comment below. I want to hear from my fellow nose people. Number 3, electrical issues. Talking about old panels, like 100 amp versus 200, or worse, fuses. Aluminum wiring, double tap breakers. Most buyers have no clue what these actually mean. So when it comes up on the report, they're like, what is this? It might sound to them that your house is going to catch fire. And some of these things are just $300 to $500 little fixes. But the inspection report makes it sound like that is an electrical apocalypse. And that's why in all my inspections, we fix most of these issues. Most electrical issues are fixed after the inspection. It's a deal killer. I've seen buyers get so spooked out by electrical stuff or outdated panels that they backed out of a deal without even asking how much it would cost to fix. It doesn't even make sense. This is a tip for you. Have your electrician check your system, make sure even the small updates before you list, replacing a few outlets with modern GFCIs, which you have to do in most townships if your outlet is within 6 feet of water, okay? So let's get it done. Next is plumbing and leaks. You can't sell your house with leaky faucets, slow drains, or old galvanized pipes. It's just a bad message being sent. If your water heater is old, buyers will automatically subtract $2,000 to $3,000 from their mental offer, even if it's working fine. I always replace water heaters. I mean, it doesn't cost that much. The average water heater lasts 8 to 12 years. If yours looks like it came with the house, or it has like a date on it, because usually I write the dates on it, there's going to be some issues. So put a new one in or give a credit for it. And other tips are replace worn washers, fix any visible drips. If your water heater is ancient, consider swapping it before listing, like I said. You'll get more than their money back in perceived value here. And that's why I tell people you can look at these things that are obvious before your pre-listing inspection comes. So prepare yourself for your listing inspection by doing all these things so you don't have a bad listing report and then you have to show all these repairs. So these are things you should be thinking about doing before your pre-listing inspection, which will handle both inspections if the buyer has one. Number 5, I believe we're on, is HVAC systems. Listen, I've seen systems that look like they've been back 1940s. They will write an inspection report beyond its useful life, and that's a kind of giant flashing red light to buyers. So whether your system's working perfectly or not. Heating and cooling systems, they're expensive, and buyers often demand thousands in credits just because the system isn't brand new. So a smart seller move here for me is before your pre-listing inspection, have your HVAC serviced and leave the service report for the inspector to see. Something that's written that says system is operating well or it's been just checked out. It can take the sting out of a scary age number for a heater. Making sure you change the filter and things like that before your inspection. Number 6, attic and insulation issues. Mold in the attic, usually caused by poor ventilation, it's a huge buyer turnoff. It's very easy to fix, like I said earlier, but the word mold, like I talked about earlier, has the same impact as the word termite, worse, I think. And if you have missing insulation, it's not good. It makes buyers imagine, high heating bills or something. Or if they see chewed insulation, maybe they're thinking rodents. So a big tip is before your listing inspection, before you have your pre-listing inspection, have someone check your attic ventilation insulation levels and any signs of staining before you list. The fixes are usually very inexpensive here compared to what buyers will try to deduct or they won't even buy your house. All these pro tips, guys, when you need to sell your home, I can help you find an agent who can make sure all this stuff happens for you before you list it. Just go to realdealagent.com and I'll find that realtor, I'll vet them for you, and we'll find somebody who can handle these inspections, and I'll actually be around to help throughout the process to make sure you have a great inspection for listing your home. Number 7, pests and termites. Oh, this is a deal killer. You've got to make sure this is handled before you list your house. Doesn't matter even if you treated the termites 20 years ago and maybe just saw previous infestation. Just the word termite in a report is not good, okay? I've seen buyers walk away from a deal over termite damage that was repaired decades ago. So you have to nip this in the butt before you list the house. So get a termite inspection before listing, especially if you've had termites before. If you're in the clear, then you have a certificate. You have something to show. Just get this done. Get your termite report. Usually some of the issues with termites, they're in the joists, they're easy to fix, and it's not a big deal. Sometimes the mortgage companies are going to want the termite issues to be fixed anyway. So you're going to have to take care of that. Next are safety hazards. Well, these are a myriad of things. Loose railings or missing GFCI outlets, trip hazards, lights without covers. They seem small, but they shout kind of lazy maintenance to buyers. So when buyers think they have, you've been lazy about the little stuff, they start assuming you've neglected the big stuff too. And also lenders may require certain safety issues to be fixed before they approve the financing, especially with FHA or VA. That means delays or worse, a dead deal. This is very easy to handle before you list the home. And the agent that I find for you, I'll be able to help them to make sure that they handle all these little things ahead of time. So I have a complete checklist. I've done this for so long. I really haven't added much to that list in a while, but I do add things once in a while, and I have an updated list on my Google Docs. Actually, in my book, I have a lot of things here. I talk a lot about things that you can change and you can't change, and some things you have to change. And that's the ones we're talking about here. Things that come up in the home inspection, the mold, the termites, radon, electrical, knob and tube wiring. There's things that are definitely things to fix. Next is windows and doors. Every time I walk into a house, almost every time I see a foggy double pane window or door. And what happens is the seal has been broken. And people think, oh, I need a whole new window. But you don't. You can just bring it over to the glass company and they'll put a glass in. And then you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so that's something to do before you sell a house. Always, I always do. And there's also an issue of sticky doors. It could be just the humidity. So just make sure you fix any foggy glass and adjust any sticky doors for listing. It's a small detail, but it makes your home feel better maintained when people walk in your door and I don't have to pull on your door to open it up. And even when you get to the door, the front door, it's like keeping that neat and clean. Like when I have my inspectors come over, my pre-home inspections, my inspectors oh my gosh, I make sure that house is clean as a whistle. I want them to think, oh my God, you've really kept your house nice. And one of my inspectors I use most all the time goes, Diane, do you prepare your sellers for listing? Because they're always very nice and well kept. I'm like, oh, a little bit. I don't tell them all my secrets, but that's what we do. We do prepare you for the inspection. Things you need to do in the book before your inspection. Cleaning the windows inside and out. All the stuff from underneath your sink out of the way so they can actually see down there. Like we have you almost ready to go on the market and then do the pre-home inspection. And lastly, number 10, we have cosmetic versus real issues. But the funny thing about this, and actually frustrating as well, buyers sometimes overlook real expensive problems but lose their minds over something that's purely cosmetic. I've seen people walk away over a cracked bathroom tile while completely ignoring an outdated electrical panel. That's because inspections aren't just about logic, they're about emotion. So your job as a seller, get that pre-home inspection and control the narrative, so the buyer stays focused on what actually matters, and make sure you take care of all these little things. And if you put a comment below, I will send you a list of things that you need to do before your pre-home inspection. It's a good one. And this is a list I will give all my data and lists and strategies to the agent that I introduce you to sell your home. You know, you don't want to be doing that, believe me. You don't want to be going on the phone 2 and 3 hours for each interview and talking to people, bringing them in your house. You don't want to be doing that. Let me do it for you. I do a really good job. I actually love this part. I've been doing this now for a while, and besides selling houses here in Philadelphia area. So I've been telling you throughout these lists here of what you should do before the inspection. I'm just going to go through a nice little list here for you. Now you got 2 choices. You can cross your fingers and hope for the best. We don't do that. Or you can take control and get in front of the issues. How do you take control? You're going to get the pre-home inspection, and don't wait for the buyer to be the first one to find all the problems in your house. We're going to hire the inspector before you list. I'll have the agent I refer you to, I can tell them exactly who to hire. I'll even vet the home inspector for you, and they'll tell you exactly what's going to show up in that report. That puts you in the driver's seat. You find the issues first, decides what's worth fixing, and decide what's worth disclosing. In Home Selling Sharks, I talk about eliminating shark bites before they happen. These are the small problems that turn into big negotiating points when the buyer finds them first, okay? And then a big bonus is you hand the buyer your pre-inspection report to show you're transparent and prepared, and it instantly builds trust. They love it. And many of them will do another inspection, but they can't ask for anything that we've already found. So they're only looking for things that we haven't found and making sure that the things that we did fix, we fix them right. We're gonna fix the small stuff. Those $50 repairs can now save you $500 or $1,000 in credits later, like I talked about earlier. Leaky faucets, loose outlet cover, missing handrails, little things. They're not little things with the buyer, right? It just makes them say, hey, they didn't fix this, what else is wrong? It really does. And what's the most profitable thing you can do about having a pre-home inspection is you're gonna create a pre-listing list. It's called a minor fix-up list, and then you're gonna knock it out before the first showing. It's low cost, high return, and removes half the petty items that make inspection reports look scary. So you have the report, you said, here's the thing of bad things, and we fixed these 8 bad things, and we didn't do these, and we're not going to, and we priced the house accordingly. You got it? I have it as shark number 2 in my book, shark number 1 being the realtor that you hire, and shark number 2. So I can help you find the realtor, and I can help you get through this pre-home inspection, because the strategy is key. You know, it's not just about doing a report. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to document everything. Inspectors love to speculate, buyers love to panic, so documentation shuts both of them down, all right? Keep receipts for every repair, maintenance service and replacement you've done, whether it's on a new roof or HVAC service or even a $200 plumbing fix. Buyers like those little things. Also have all your warranties there. Give it to your realtor. Being able to say, oh, my water heater, it's covered until 5 years from now or whatever. It turns a problem into people might think it's a problem into a non-issue. And in my Home Selling Sharks book, I call that weaponizing your proof, because the paperwork transforms your home from kind of a mystery of what's wrong into a well-documented investment. Buyers love a well-documented investment. Next, you want to make sure your home looks cared for, and that's even for the inspections. So before your inspection, I said this to you before, is clean your house, organize your home, make the inspectors approach your property differently. In my experience, a cluttered, dusty home gets inspected more critically. A spotless, well-organized home sends the message, this seller takes care of things. I have also the other book, the Model Home Mindset book. This is where I walk through your home like a buyer would, room by room, removing distractions, fix scuffed walls, make every space feel inviting. You're selling confidence as much as you're selling bricks and mortars. It's all good stuff here. A big one here, I just talked about it a little bit, is staging your home for the inspector as well as the buyer. Most people don't think about that. They stage their home not just for showings, but for the inspection process itself before your home goes on the market. That's why we do our inspection like right before it goes on the market. For example, make access easy, clear attic entries, unlock crawl spaces, move stored items away from the electrical panel, make them easier to get to do their job. Then the less likely they are to write could not inspect due to lack of access, which will spook the buyers. Bottom line, inspections aren't just about finding problems, they're about controlling perception. Do you get it? It's very important. If you follow these steps, you'll walk into inspection day knowing there's nothing hiding in the dark, no nasty surprises, no sharks circling your equity, coming after your equity, right? It's very, very important, guys. And lastly, I want to talk about the emotional side of these inspections. Most sellers, I don't think, realize that inspection reports are written in scary language on purpose because they're designed to cover the inspector's liability. They have to say things, and make them sound bad. It really isn't to give you a balanced, here's what's really wrong assessment. That's why you'll see some phrases like potential risk of catastrophic failure or something like that, or when they're talking about a loose handrail. So don't panic, because a good listing agent, hopefully me or someone I'm going to help you, will help you separate the actual must-do items from the noise. That's the strategy behind the whole inspection report, is not doing the report. I'll say it 5, 6, 7 times. It's about getting the message to the buyer after the report's been done. This whole thing is about preparing the home for the inspector's eyes and preparing you, the seller, for the inspector's eyes. And understand this whole process is his #1 deal killer, guys. So this is the one you should be thinking about. Now, if you're watching this right now and you're outside of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, whatever, in Jersey, I can't work with you, but don't worry. This built-in vetted referral program, I've been talking about this whole video, of just people, listing agents who have a listing-based business. I personally interview them, make sure they fight for every penny of your equity, that they have the pre-home inspection process in their strategies. If not, I teach them how to do it. They have marketing strategy, a pricing strategy. You don't want to end up with a weak agent. It kills your deal. They won't even know what a pre-home inspection is, or they will have no idea how to handle it after the report comes in. Just go to realdealagent.com. I look forward to having a room by room on your house. I can't wait to see the inside. Show me around on your phone. I get to see everything. Don't worry if it's a mess. I see messes every day. It's a lot of fun, and we'll have a good time and have a couple laughs. Because all in all, you want to win. I love winning, and that's important because with everything going on in the world, winning is good. I think right now we are starting to win in a lot of areas, and I just feel really good about putting America first and getting these inspections done and putting my home sellers first and getting them the best agent out there, because home inspections don't have to be deal killers. If you prepare ahead of time, like I talked about, avoid common pitfalls, and you work with the right agent who I'll help you find, just turn inspection day from a kind of a nerve-wracking process into just another easy step towards closing. This is the worst part of it. The worst part of selling your house is not the staging and putting stuff together, it's the home inspection. Because you actually do all that, you prepare for the home inspection. That's what you do. But inspections, they're just one part of protecting your sale, because right now, it's the fall's coming up and we got the next year coming up. There's another threat you can't afford to ignore. Real estate scams that target sellers. They're all over the place. Before you list your home, make sure you know the 8 most common scams that could cost you your equity, your home, peace of mind. Check out this video. 8 real estate scams that could steal your home.